really quick to make sure that we're live on our channels, and it looks like we are. So we're gonna go ahead, and I'm just checking the website really fast just to make sure. We want to make sure that everybody's good. And it looks like we are. So perfect. We are all set and ready to go. So when I first went online and started looking at cyberbullying and all the things, most of the definitions would say cyberbullying is bullying online. And I was like, that's a very vague definition. So we decided at our house that we came up with this really awesome definition, and it's taken directly pieced from the government site. And this is what we say cyberbullying is. It's unwanted aggressive behavior among school-age children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated, has the potential to be repeated, and over time it takes place in digital devices like cell phones, computers, tablets, text messages, SMS messages, apps, or online forums in social media, forums, gaming, where people can view, participate, or share in content. So, now that we've established that, what is the difference between being mean online versus being a bully? So this is what I have done in all of the case studies. There's actually sites where people have gone and sued other people or gone to cases, and what it is as long as it's no more than 3 comments, it's on a single platform, and it is by a single individual. Those 3 things have to align. It is considered just being mean. And those are things like, you know, posting a video of throwing away a gift that a friend gave you, or burning your boyfriend's books, or things like that. They're just acts of blatant meanness online. But the minute it crosses over into other types of things, it actually can cross into a lot of legal lines. In fact, the government says that cyberbullying can cross into criminal lines. However, most of the things that I have seen classified as cyberbullying, like doxing, which is posting private identifiable information online to get back at somebody, violation of privacy and terms, that's actually against the law. Socket puppeting, that is creating a fake account or profile or persona to pretend to be somebody else to lure and get personal information from somebody. In the computer world, we call that catfishing. Those types of things, those are illegal, actually. So when we talk about being mean and cyberbullying, there is a very narrow window. So as long as they are not involving, really honestly, pictures that are incriminating or defacing property, as long as they're not creating a website in your child's name or as like a fan page of your child or doing things like that, as long as it is only mean words on one platform by one individual, that is considered cyberbullying. Anything beyond that starts to toy with the gray lines of legal terms. And so we are going to talk and break down some of those legal lines and things that parents need to be aware of, and talk to our kids about those different types of things, because it is really important for our kids to understand that there is a very fine line where cyberbullying is, and it is very thin. Most activities that I see that are listed on there are actually to protect individuals. So the minute it crosses multiple platforms, the minute multiple people get involved, we have cyberbullying. That's where being mean starts and cyberbullying starts. And the minute it involves things like pictures, personal information, defamation of character, those kinds of things, it starts to cross the legal line. So you can see there's a very narrow window. So we will talk later about this month, how you can stop it, kind of what you can do to it, and the different ways that you can really just expect cyberbullying to go through, and what you can do to make sure that it's very, very well maintained, it's contained, and your kids aren't participating in things that can get them in trouble as well, because that is a thing that a lot of kids are doing, is they're calling it fire warfare, which is where somebody posts a negative picture about you online or says something mean about you, you go and you text all your friends, and they go and you just blast them. They call it fire warfare. That is actually cyberbullying, and it needs to be taken very seriously, because as soon as it digresses into these laws, that is where we have some really big issues with those types of things. And the legal laws of where states will get involved depend on the state. They depend on a lot of things. So we're going to break that down next week, because it's kind of intense to get into. But I just wanted to make sure that we understood that cyberbullying is if it's only one person on one platform through several messages. That's it. The minute it crosses that line and it's more than one person or it's multiple comments, like in a 3-day period or on multiple platforms, immediately it's starting to be cyberbullying, and that's where we need to start documenting things. Now, I do want to take a point here and point out something that is really important to understand. Some kids share inside jokes online, and they talk about, like my teenagers were sharing things about an inside joke that was about killing yourself. Now, they were not being bullies to each other. However, in future context, that could be very much cyberbullying. In fact, that is considered harassment and threats, and it carries difficult consequences. So we need to have conversations with our kids about these kinds of things and really dive into this. And again, we're going to get into this more next week, but I want you to understand that sometimes what our kids post, they don't understand that later, if there's a fight that breaks out, or if somebody gets mad at them, or if there's somebody that is really, really, really just angry, it actually has to be able to be interpreted by law. And those kinds of comments that my kids made, I had to talk to them. I'm like, I think you should take those down. Just saying. And I'm not their parent, so I can't, force them to take them down. But as a parent, that would be something I would say and say, okay, no, let me tell you why. And we would go and look at something. So have these conversations, because this is what kids are doing as bullying. And another big thing that I see a lot of is it's not necessarily the kids that are involved in the bullying. Is you will see, if you go on Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat, they actually have hashtags called school fights. And they are whole different things. And it's not just fights at school, it's fights in general. And it's not always, MMA style, boxing kind of stuff. It's fights with real people. Those kinds of things can happen from bystanders. So it's really important to talk to our kids about how to do those things. And later this month, we're going to focus all about ways to be upstanders, to block it, to stop it, and do all of the things that is so important for our kids, because these are things that are getting them into trouble later. This is why you have things that come up and it's like, oh, it's against the law here. Oh, it's against the law here. And this is why you have kids as young as 10 and 11 getting in trouble with the law for stupidity. Stupidity has now become a crime online, and we need to change that. The only way we can change that is by educating our kids on what is good and what is bad. So I'm just going to do a really quick recap here. The types of cyberbullying that we discussed are things like doxing, socket puppeting, catfishing, and they'll use pictures, videos, sometimes emojis, but most of the time it's just, unless it involves the person directly, it's just a mean comment. The other thing too is being mean is one person, very infrequent contact, and it's less than, like, it's only one form of social media. So those types of things, that's only being mean. The minute it crosses over into you've got 2 or more people, or you've got more social media platforms involved or things like that, or you've got more multiple means of contact, or it's like 1,000 times a day, you have entered into cyberbullying. And there is a very fine line between cyberbullying and breaking the law. And we're going to talk more about the laws that are broken with cyberbullying, what those laws are, what parents can legally do, because this is kind of why schools don't always get involved, and why a lot of schools, in fact, according to the government, most schools in the United States do not have actual platforms or methods to take care of cyberbullying. They consider it all to be off-site. So those are the things that I just kind of want you to take away. Sign up for the email newsletter. The link is in the bio and in the description and the comments, so that you can learn all that you can do to protect your kids from cyberbullying, because this is a really big problem, and this is the root of all the other BS that's coming out from it. So we're going to try and stop it. And that's it. I'll talk to you guys later.